what is your best memory from your time at Miami?
So my best non-volleyball memory would be the 175th anniversary day ball, and it was a big celebration. And we all went to, it was called the Shriver Center. I guess now it was called the Res back then.
Okay.
And we had dance lessons to learn how to dance. And then you went to the ball, and I went with my then boyfriend at the time, and they had twinkle lights and trees all over Millette, and the boys wore tuxes, and we all had fancy dresses, and it was just a really special night and something I always remember.
That's awesome. That sounds so fun.
It was really fun,
I
very
know you
fun.
said that was your best non-volleyball memory. Could you tell me what your best volleyball memory was?
My best volleyball memory is probably when we won the MAC in the 81. So when you look at the banners when you're playing, I played on the second and third banner in
Okay.
those banners. In 1981 was my freshman year. We won the MAC, and we earned the bid, which was the first year the NCAA had the NCAA
Okay.
tournaments for women. So when I was in high school, I signed my letter of intent in the AIAW, which was the governing body for women's sports, because the NCAA did not do women's sports then. And my
Okay.
freshman year is when they decided that they would have sports championships for women. And
Okay.
your school had to pick, were you going to be an AIAW school or NCAA school? Miami chose to be an NCAA school, which I think was very forward thinking.
Yeah.
And when I got on campus, you had to actually re-sign your letter of intent with
Okay.
NCAA paperwork. And so we won the MAC, and I remember being on the bus with everyone and singing "We Are Family" was the song. It was very
Aw.
popular. And then we got to fly and play in New Mexico, which we were women. When I played, we drove in vans and drove ourselves. We didn't have buses. We didn't fly, any of those things. So that was really special. And we went on a tour of Old Town Albuquerque, and then we played in the Pit, I think it's called. That's their stadium that they still use for
Okay.
certain things. And we unfortunately lost. But then after that, we went to Farrell's and had ice cream for dinner. And you got this huge thing. It was called a zoo, and it was like every flavor of ice cream and topping that you could have. And we just all like drowned our sorrows and celebrated. I mean, that was an incredible thing to be a part of.
Yes.
That's really a fond memory. I have lots of memories of that trip. Like my roommate, it was her first time to fly. So that
Oh,
was,
that's awesome.
yeah. So it was really a neat experience and something that I'm really proud to have been a part of at Miami. And even just in the NCAA, my daughter went to the Volleyball Hall of Fame,
Okay.
and Miami's there for being in the first tournament.
That's awesome. No, that's something that I haven't been able to experience yet. And I'm fingers crossed sometime within the next 4 years that we'll be able to make it to the NCAA and I'll be able to be a part of that. So that's so amazing to hear. Um, I guess with all the experience that you've like gained since graduating, is there anything that you wish you could go back and tell your 19-year-old self? So I guess that's some of us now too, being so young, or any advice you have for us right now?
Oh gosh. Enjoy it. It goes fast. Um, I always tell my daughter if I would go back, I'd study harder, and she tells me not to say that. I think when you're there and you're taking the classes and you like them, and you're working hard at volleyball and you're having a social life and you're doing all those things, sometimes you're like not as invested. If I could go back, I would be more invested maybe in trying some things different than the classes that I took, or maybe more outside of my comfort zone. And I'd study harder. That's such a mom answer.
So I guess I have a question too. Were you a part of any like organizations other than volleyball, or like any clubs or anything for like extracurriculars?
No, I really wasn't. It was volleyball, volleyball, and volleyball.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I only had the opportunity to play for Coach Khan at my senior year, and our coach
Okay.
before that didn't really encourage that.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So your
What
senior
about
year
you?
was,
Are you
oh,
allowed to do?
yes, we are. I'm actually part of a business fraternity.
Oh,
Yeah, I rushed last spring, so I've been in it a year now. It's not as like time time consuming as a sorority or anything like that. But I do know that girls in the past have even been allowed to join sororities. Stella Ku coach, I don't know if you remember her. She was
Mhm.
in a sorority. Coach allows it as long as volleyball comes first and like your sorority knows that. So she's very open and welcoming to making sure that we experience college still at the same time. So I do very much appreciate that about it too.
Yeah, and I really like that about Coach. Like I said, I only got to play for her for 1 year, but she made a real big difference in my life and how I feel about volleyball, and is part of the reason why I love Miami so much. So and she cares about you and she wants you to be this well-rounded person. So I totally get that. I'm glad to hear that
Yeah.
she still does that.
Yeah, me too. I was gonna say a lot of people when even like when recruits ask, they're like, what about Coach Condit? That's the first thing I say. I'm like, she actually cares about you as a person. She'll come up to you. I remember freshman year, you have to log your hours to like your coaches just for that first semester to make sure the freshmen are doing okay with studying. And she came up to me like halfway through the semester. I was taking calculus. And I would sometimes forget to text her. So I'd text her at 12:30 at night because that's when I get done studying for calc. And she was like, are you getting enough sleep? Like, I know it's really hard and I know you're doing well, but I just want to make sure you're healthy. I was like, we're doing good. It's like, I'm taking a lot of naps, but
Yeah. Yeah, and she still cares. I mean, to this day, I could call her with any kind of problem or if I needed help or, she calls and says Merry Christmas and how are you? And my
yeah.
daughter is a senior in college and plays volleyball.
Okay.
And, she always asks how she's doing and, questions through the recruiting process and all those types of things. She's always willing to help you.
That's awesome. Which I was just going to ask too. So you kind of answered a little bit, but I was going to say, how has your Miami family and network helped you get to where you are right now?
Um, I think it wasn't as easy when I was graduating because you didn't have social media. I
Mhm.
guess that's something I would say to my younger self is stay close to your teammates. You kind of go
Okay.
off and geographically you get dispersed. So where I am today, I'd say personally, my Miami network and professionally helps me in the who I am and the person that I am. Um, and like I said, you can reach out to coach anytime you want to with anything and really anyone on the volleyball program. And I hope you feel that way. All of us are here to
Yeah.
help and support. And I mean, I would do anything for any of the volleyball girls. And I think all the alums feel that way. So, we're a family and I think coach really builds that in our, that sense of community amongst all of us by the example that she leads. So, gosh, in my Miami experience, I mean, one, you're going to get that great education, but the
Yes.
character building and the leadership opportunities and the ability, when you're an athlete, you learn to be coached and when you get out in the work world, you get coached, right?
Yes.
And you coach people when you become the leader. And all of those things are things that you learn from playing sports and are used to. And you're used to taking that correction and doing it and applying it and not taking it personally. And that all really parlays itself into being successful in life and in business. And I think those are skills that you get from being an athlete. And so that's really important, I think, for my time at Miami.
Okay, awesome. And I totally agree. That's awesome. And I do definitely feel like coach makes sure we feel connected. And Jenny Gilbert does a great job of being the spokesperson and being like, the alums were all watching, or we had our meeting and they were all so disappointed when like our game against Toledo. They're like, they feel so bad for you guys. Oh, we're grateful that we have people standing behind us that know what we're going through and know how bad we just want to play.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so what you're doing now, is it your dream career or are you still, as that, sorry, I need to reword that. What you're doing now, has it become your dream career?
So it is my dream career. Interestingly enough, I have a very interesting career path. At Miami, I was a public administration as my major,
Okay.
which is like in poli sci kind of,
Okay.
um, at least back then. Um, and I work in IT. So I
Okay.
really did a like 360, but I think I wanted to go out. I was going to save the world and work for a not-for-profit. And then I decided I like to eat. Um, I have to probably cut that part. Cut that part, Jenny. And I should start over. So, um, so I was a poli-sci major, and I got out of school, and I wanted to work for not-for-profit, or I wanted to work in human resources. And I took a position at human resources at a department store, and actually manually added timesheets for people's time and signed them up for benefits and those types of things. But I got my experience, because that's one of the hardest
Mhm.
things when you get out of school is, having to have experience. And then I did that, and I got asked to be a part of a team that was going to automate those processes. So how we're going
Okay.
to manually do timekeeping, we're going to now make it automated, et cetera. So I did that, and I went to work in IT as a business analyst, where you do systems design.
Okay.
And then I decided I wanted to be a manager or leader of a technical team, and the CIO told me that I wasn't technical enough. So I took a class, and I rewrote a program, and I took it to him, and he said, "I guess you are technical enough." And I had an opportunity then to go into actually IT and lead various teams in our HR, finance, private label merchandising systems, and I did that for many years. And to this day, I still do IT, and I still work in human resource systems. And now I work for Edward Jones, and I'm leading our HR transformations from a systems standpoint. So still kind of doing that same thing. I didn't know that I loved that in school, but
Okay.
I do love it now, and feel very fortunate to have had the opportunities that I've had to do those types of things. And the thing I like most is leading a team and
Mhm.
developing the people on my team. So I think I could probably do a lot of different things, but I really like to work in a team environment and help develop people.
That's awesome. Is there like, I know you said like team oriented, so that might be the answer, but is there like a specific like culture atmosphere like within that like you really love? Or like I know you said team oriented, sometimes that's like what is they say it's like a family and things like that. But
And that does happen. You're right. You become that way, and you care about all these people deeply. But I like that. I like. Have you guys learned anything about agile or working in a team-based matrix kind of environment yet? And you're in business school, right?
yeah, I would say management, we're doing like the leadership and the team-based things, but I don't know how much in depth. I just started it.
Yeah. So I really like things that are like problem solving, team
Okay.
based. So tomorrow I'm going to lead a session with a bunch of people. We have a problem we want to solve, and we're getting a bunch of people together, which is interesting to do in Zoom,
Yeah.
and whiteboarding out solutions. And I
Okay.
really like that collaboration, working together.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different point of view, can see things differently. And when you get everyone together, then you come up with the best solution.
Yes. Okay. That's awesome. Um, so back to, I guess, the beginning when I was asking questions, but why did you initially choose Miami? What drew you here?
So it was a lot different in my day. You went and you tried out at
Okay.
different schools. So my parents had a list of schools that they thought had the correct academics that I was allowed to look at.
Okay.
And someone had told my mom, I had never heard of Miami, and someone had told my mom it's the most beautiful school they'd ever seen. We had to go look at it. And you wrote letters, so it was actually letters with stamps put in the mailbox off to all the coaches, and you had like a written profile, and your picture was stapled to it or glued to it. And um, Coach Bradley called and said, "Hey, we'd like you to come over to campus." And I did an audition, because I didn't go to the group tryout,
Yeah.
and I auditioned and spent the night, and had dinner in the cafeteria, and stayed overnight. And the when I picked it, so I knew that I had the academics, and
Hmm.
we drove. So I'm from Indianapolis, and we
Okay.
came in um, 27, and you head uptown, and there's Miami. And I said to my mom, and they still tease me to this day, "Mom, if they let me play ball, I'm coming here."
Aw.
And that was it. I just knew, and I'm sure that
Yeah.
everything throughout that day added to it, or it might have made
Hmm.
a different decision, but it just looked like that's where I belong. I just loved it from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was really lucky that I got to do that and be a part of that team. And gosh, I played with 6 Hall of Famers in my time at Miami, and got to play for Coach, who's a Hall of Famer, and
Yeah.
Lisa Dankovich, who you know from who announces the games with Bake. So
Yeah.
got to have a lot of great teammates and a lot of great friends. So I definitely made the best choice.
That's awesome. That's amazing. No, I can relate to that too. Just because I really didn't know where I wanted to end up. I just knew that I wanted to play like D1 volleyball. And one of the assistant coaches who aren't there now, like a spring break, randomly was just like, "Do you want to come down?" And my mom was like, "Let's just go. Let's check it out." And ever since like we went to Miami, we'd go somewhere. I'm like, it's just not pretty. Like it's not beautiful. Like it doesn't like have that like feel, like that college feel. And then it was just like everything was based off of Miami. And I mean, that's when you know, and everything
Mm-hmm.
can't compare to like one place. So that's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Here,
Um,
I'll tell you my funny Western
oh,
Michigan story.
okay.
So Western Michigan wanted me to come, and their
Okay.
coach, I won't say his name in case Jenny uses this. But anyway, so Western Michigan was recruiting me as well.
Mhm.
And when my mom actually, which I find funny because now I would make my daughter do it, my mom called to tell him that I was not going to come there. And then he wrote a letter and said that would be the worst decision that I ever made. Can
Oh,
you believe that?
wow. Man, I've heard some horror stories of coaches saying things to girls now. So unfortunately I can, which is kind of scary.
Well,
But
and he was a
wow.
lot looser in my day too. I mean,
Yeah.
it was now that things are a lot more, there's things in place to protect athletes and different things that weren't there then.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Whenever we played them and we beat them, I was always very happy.
That's always the best when you have an extra reason to beat a team. It just feels that much sweeter.
Yep.
Um, so if you could finish this sentence and it's just Miami University is blank.
Miami University is the most beautiful place in the United States.
I love that. I agree. For all the places that I've been, it's amazing.
Well, I was going to say it's amazing. And I thought, well, yes, it is amazing. But what else could you say?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to travel that many places yet, but it's a standout so far.
Yep. Yeah. Um, so here's my question. So
Okay.
when I was there, we had to sleep 4 to a room. How many girls
Okay.
sleep in a room when you travel?
Okay. We only have to do two, and it is because Title IX now, since like the men's teams only have to do two, women only have to do two, which I was completely shocked by because club tournaments, we had one every year at the club that I came from, where parents weren't really allowed to come, or if they did, they couldn't stay at the same hotel because it was supposed to be like a college experience. And they would put four girls in a room. So I got to Miami and they were handing out key cards and they only put two girls to a room. And I was like, is there just like a king bed in here or something? And I went up there and there were two queen beds. And I was like, this is insane. So
Yeah. And that's one of the things that, and the reason I still am involved and serve on athletic director circle and am fortunate enough to be able to support all of you, um, is that things that we didn't have, like I talked about doing the vans and sleeping 4 to a
yes.
room. And I mean, we had really tight budgets for food. And we always tell a funny story about one person being 12 cents over and not Coach Condit, but our other coach coming down like a
Mm-hmm.
ton of bricks on him. And we ponied up the 12 cents for her to give the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And, things were like that tight and that different. And we played at Withrow, which now is a parking garage, but it was a beautiful and amazing
Yeah.
place. But girls didn't play at Millette. I mean, the basketball girls didn't. I always wonder why that was. And then,
Yeah.
then eventually, I think the year after I graduated is when they got to move to Millette.
Okay.
And I also think it's interesting, and you can't see it. I have my letter up there, and I didn't realize it when I
Okay.
played. We didn't get we weren't awarded letters officially by the university. Now I thought I was a letter winner, but
Oh,
we did. The
wow.
boys got letter jackets. We did not. And then the university had a celebration for us for Title IX's anniversary, and all
Okay.
the women who were in that situation were invited back to campus, and we all received letters.
Oh, I'm really happy that they finally gave them to you. That's awesome. That's too bad that they couldn't get them when you're actually there. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so it's I really enjoy watching all of you and all of the things that you have in the film, like when you the pictures of the film room, and it's
Yeah.
just so improved from when I was there. And when I was there, we had great things.
Yeah.
compared to other people, but
Yeah.
it wasn't what you guys have. And I just feel really fortunate to see it and see the opportunities you have and to get to play a part and I give my time and treasure to help
Yeah.
support that. And and I hope that when you graduate, you'll feel the same way.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for all the support. I know speaking for the whole team, all of us appreciate everything that, all the alum does for us and always having our backs and being there supporting us through everything. So it means a lot.
Yeah. And then do you go to Bagel Deli?
Oh, yes. I haven't been too often, but that place is amazing.
Love a Bagel Deli. You got to go to Bagel Deli whenever you come on campus.
Do you have a favorite order?
Well, I like garlic with ham and provolone.
All
It
right.
doesn't have a name.
All right. A big crowd favorite is called the Crunch and Munch. Personally
Yes.
never had it, and it kind of grosses me out because I'm like, chips on a bagel does not
Isn't that the one
sound
with
good to me.
Doritos or
Yeah,
is it
and
just
they're like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's Doritos with like other stuff. I'm just like, I don't know why that would be good, but it's okay. It's just a preference thing.
Yep. A trip to Oxford has to include a Bagel Deli. It has to include everyone being quiet when you go on the bricks. Like when my daughter was little, we'd be like, okay, everyone, you have to be quiet now. I'm going to pay homage as we leave campus. And then
That's awesome. Well, I guess I have to ask too. I know you said you're from Indianapolis, but do you like Skyline? I've heard it's kind of an Ohio thing, but there's one in Oxford.
I am not the biggest Skyline fan. I don't like
Okay,
the cinnamon. What about you?
I've never been. I'm
Oh,
kind of scared to go. I'm scared to
oh,
go,
it's
but
good. It's just
okay.
it have you ever had Steak and Shake five-way chili?
No, I don't have many
Okay.
steak and shakes by me.
It's kind of like Steak and Shake, but it has
Okay.
cinnamon in it for some reason. I'm like, cinnamon in your chili's odd.
Okay. Interesting. Well, me and my roommates have made it like it's on our bucket list for this like year for sophomore year. Like we have to make it to Skyline at some point. So
Yeah, so I can't remember. It's still uptown. I wonder if it's in the same location. It used to be by the Genie, which was the ATM, and there's only one ATM, and you had to go all the way uptown to the far side by what's the place with the United Dairy Farmers? It was almost up to there.
oh yeah, it's by
And
UDF.
yeah, and that was the ATM you had to go to. And it was cold when you had to do that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm wondering if it's the same one where there's like a Chase Bank ATM outside. I'm
I
wondering if
bet
it's
it
in the
is. Is it
same
a brick,
spot.
like got brick arches on the facade of the building?
Yes. Yes.
Yep,
Because
that's the same.
upstairs there's an apartment and that's where we lived our freshman year for July. It's like an 8 room
Ah,
apartment. So they stick the freshmen and sophomores in there because we can't get in the dorms yet.
okay.
And yes, couldn't unfortunately come down this summer, but next summer we have a freshman class of 7 and
Wow.
three sophomores. Yeah, it's gonna be really big. So they're gonna try and get Chase. So they'll have like lots of room. And then like the whole team will like go over and play cards, have movie nights, stuff like that, because it's so big up there because sororities live there during the school year. So they rent it out during the summer for like a month.
That's wonderful.
So
So
yeah.
when I played, we didn't come in the summer.
Yes.
It was very different. You didn't do that. I was trying to think, my senior year, it must have been junior year, going into senior was the first year they had book scholarships for women.
Oh really?
Hmm.
My
So
gosh.
interesting. No,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we had scholarships, so I came on
Hmm.
a scholarship and things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, but books weren't included until then. And I don't know if they were for the male athletes or if that was
Okay.
everybody then got them. I don't
Okay.
know the answer
Okay.
to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I
Well,
can't wait to come on campus and see you guys this fall, hopefully, because I haven't been in a
oh,
while. Because my daughter was playing,
yeah.
I didn't come in the fall because I usually come up for the AD circle meeting in the fall, and normally
Okay.
you guys have a game, or sometimes I just come up just to come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where does your daughter play?
She plays at Lawrence University. It's a small liberal arts school in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. At first I was like, Lawrence, I have a Lawrence Tech. It's either in Michigan or really close. And I was like, Lawrence. I was like, I think I know where that is. I don't know where that is though. That's
Yeah.
awesome though.
Yeah. And you're from Michigan, but where in Michigan?
It's called North Branch. It's like 45 minutes north of Flint.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 5.5 hours from Oxford. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. And your water's okay to drink.
Yes. That's so
Good.
funny. I just said that to one of the girls the other day, and I was like, because we're the North Branch of the Flint River, like that's where we get the name from. And they were like,
Oh.
the water. And I was like, no, I was like, we don't, that didn't affect us at all. I was like, that wasn't a thing. I was like, a lot of us have like the well water too, so it's not a big deal. And they were like, oh, okay. But um, well, I don't have any more questions for you. I don't know if you have any other questions for me.
No, I guess not. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Yes, me
And your
too.
major is accounting?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, when you start looking for a job or whatever, let me know and I'll see what I can do to
Thank
try to help
you.
you or, network or,
Yeah.
link in with me if you're on LinkedIn. And,
Okay, I will for sure.
yeah.
I'm going through, there's like the big four recruiting process going on right now. So I have an interview with like EY coming up and hopefully with like Deloitte, KPMG, and PwC. I put in application. So we'll see where that goes, fingers crossed, but that'll be interesting. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I enjoyed talking to you as well.
Yeah. I can't wait to meet you in person. So stay safe. Good luck tomorrow. I can't watch you guys. These games are on CSTV or something. I don't know what that is. They're not on ESPN, I don't think.
I think, yeah, they're not on ESPN. They're on like Kent State's website or something because our
Uh,
parents can watch and just like log in, or you don't need like a login to watch. So if
oh,
you
I'll have to
want,
look.
yeah, apparently she's like, it's free. Her director of ops is
Oh,
like, it's free. You don't have to log in. Your parents can just go watch. So if you're interested,
okay. I will do
it's just
that
like,
because I looked to see because I know like the first night at Northern Illinois, you had to pay.
yeah,
And I was
none of
like,
our
all
parents
right.
could watch.
Yeah. Well, if you're my kid, I'd have paid.
Oh,
But for
yeah.
my but otherwise I watched the and I got to watch the win, so that was much better. And
Awesome.
then oh good. Well, I will. I'll check you guys out tomorrow night. So that's
Awesome.
awesome.
Well, you
Awesome,
stay
awesome,
healthy and
awesome.
safe as well. Thank you so much again for your
Thank you.
time.
Absolutely. Good to meet you.
You too. Have a good